awesome, dude. Look how red he is.
That's real animal style right there.
Look at that.
That is a day maker, baby. Oh, look at that. We've had kind of an interesting spring, you know. March and April on the west coast of Florida are usually a little breezy, and we had a little breeze this morning. We had a little cloud cover. At one point I had to check the radar app on the phone and just see if we had some rain coming. And we wasn't calling for rain, but it was kind of a weird morning. It blew a little more than what they were calling for, which isn't abnormal this time of year, but I wasn't sure, you know, what we were in for. I knew we had good tides. We're about 3 days past the full moon, and every time, just like clockwork, every time that full moon comes around, bait gets squirrely. The moon affects bait just like it affects people. And sure enough, roll up on the full moon, the bait had been super easy, super thick, and then it kind of scatters out. It ends up in different places. Today we tried a marker first, didn't have much luck on the markers, had to go to the grass flat. Now the bait is finally up on the grass flat, and we're able to get what we need to get the morning rolling and finally get this thing underway. Captain Dave Markett is my guest, and about 22 years ago or so, I met Captain Dave, and I had some aspirations of getting in the fishing business a little bit, fishing tournaments and maybe do a little guiding and things like that. And Dave was the first guy that I met who had been doing it a long time, very well established, had great clientele. And he was the first guy I met that said, don't do it. Whatever you do, don't do it. And Dave knew from his time in the fishing business that it's not all what you see. It's not all just fun and games and fishing all the time. There's a lot of work that goes into this, and I really appreciate Dave's guidance. Obviously, I didn't listen to him, but we've been friends a long time, and I've learned a great deal from this guy. He's a person who's very near and dear to my heart. I look up to him. I respect him. He's been guiding for 52 years here on the west coast of Florida, and quite frankly, he does it as well or better than anybody I've ever met. There he is. First fish of the morning. Daddy Dave, doing what he do. Little snooky. You know, it's interesting too, because like you said, you know, it didn't even chum. So many guys pull up on these holes and they chum right away, and I just don't think that's good either. Where's your buddy Mr. Redfish? We're very blessed in this fishery to have a lot of these size snook here. Great action, great fun to catch. You know, one of the cool things that happens here in the spring, just as things start to come alive, usually in March and into April, a lot of our male snook make a big rush out of the backcountry. Once that water temp hits about 70 degrees, those young male snook pour out of the backcountry and they head towards the flats just outside the passes and areas like that. And the fishing can be absolutely incredible. Normally there won't be a lot of big snook in them. Every now and then you'll catch some fish in the 30-inch range. We saw a couple of big fish today. And it's a really special time on the west coast of Florida. You can have a 40, 50, 60 snook morning almost any given day, and those are pretty special. And there's a pile of them in there. Pile of snookies in there. Magic of that circle hook. Future bombers. A lot of males out here early in the spring. A few females around, but lots of males this time of year. They dump out of these back creeks and these estuaries where they get in the wintertime. That water temp can heat up a little bit. Then they start to head out here and get ready to go to spawn. It's really a resilient fishery. It's an amazing place.
When I was a very young man, 14 or 15 years old, I actually made my first money taking people from the north to catch trout in the Chesapeake River. Wintertime months.
I don't imagine there's much of West Central Florida you don't know. If you fish the Chaz, the Boca Grande, I mean, everything in between.
There's, you know what? The beauty about this, Mike, is that if you keep your eyes open and your senses kind of receptive, you find new places everywhere you go. So it never gets old for me because the weather always changes and conditions change and so forth. But yeah, I love wild Florida. I think God had a really good idea when he designed it.
It's an impressive tenure. 52 years of putting people on fish is pretty impressive. Uh-oh. Get out your way.
I gotta say,
feels good, don't it?
Team Real Animals signature rod feels nice.
A little bull bay action.
You know what?
Yeah, you're not gonna swim.
Look me in the eye. Come back and see me in another 4 years. You are a healthy young man.
This was kind of a neat day for me because, again, I've been guiding 20 years here on the west coast of Florida, and Captain Dave Markett has been just an instrumental part in my growth as an angler, as a guide here on the west coast of Florida. He's taught me so much, and it kind of dawned on us today that we've never spent the day on the boat together.
You got a fish, son? You don't want it?
Yeah, I want him. I just trying to.
It's a redfish. Nope, it's just me.
And we spent a lot of days side by side catching redfish out of schools and down in Boca Grande, chasing tarpon around, you know, hollering at one another, yelling at one another, calling one another on the phone, helping one another out. But we've never got to fish together. Today is a day that I won't soon forget. It was really special to me, and I guarantee it won't be the last time that I fish with this guy because I really, really had an absolutely incredible day.
That literally was just a change. That current just started.
Yeah. A little more belly to him. Been eating good. All up in McDonald's. Sucking on my thumb. Hey gang, this week's Real Animals Tip of the Week, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite tools in my arsenal, and that's Bull Bay rods. You know, this is a really versatile line of rods. Tarpon rods, offshore brute force rods, in multiple inshore series, and the bolts, the Real Animal Signature series. We're even doing bass rods now at Bull Bay Rods. The key to this rod is real simple. It's sensitivity and power. It's carbon infused graphite that we call carbonite blanks. These carbonite blanks make the whole difference. You have to be able to feel the bite. You need to have the right power and the right action. At Bull Bay Rods, they got all this stuff covered for you. It's really a great tool. Once you make the switch to Bull Bay Rods, I promise you, you won't own just one, you'll own a whole bunch of them. Check them out, bullbayrods.com is the website. There's dealers near you. Absolutely the best rod on the market. Check them out today. It was interesting in the spot we were set up on this morning. You know, Dave had mentioned as we pulled in there was going to be a lot of small male snook, but he had been getting some redfish in this one area, and we knew that if we kind of hung out there for a while, we'd have a shot at fish kind of using this trough. And sure enough, you know, as we sat there for an hour or two catching snook, pretty soon, boom, we saw a couple redfish rush in front of the boat. And we saw a couple redfish out in the distance, kind of working in the same area that the snook were in. We couldn't get the bait. The snook were so aggressive, I don't think the redfish really had time to get their party on. So it took us a while to get to that magical redfish moment.
Right there. I mean, I saw the redfish right there. Look at the flashing.
See him.
Got him. I got him.
Attaboy.
You want my fish?
No.
You sure you want my fish?
I don't want your fish. You
Mike,
catch him.
You can have my
fish. Catch him. No.
Mike, I'll give you my fish.
I want a picture with Daddy Dave and a big redfish.
Mike, you can, wait a minute. You know how this is rigged, don't you?
What?
1/8 ounce slip sinker.
Oh.
Knocker on the front of the redfish bait.
You know, redfish for me is really the fish that kind of started it all. It's just a very, very great game fish to target, and you can do it in so many different ways, in so many different places, in so many different weather situations that it never gets old to me. You know, Bull Bay doing some work right there.
Very nicely balanced rig, Mike.
Thanks, sir. I'm very proud of the
Signature.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the old Signature series. I like them. Come here. Hey, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna let you go. We're gonna let you go. Come here. Jumped at me and take a swat at my head. Stop it. Nice fish, Daddy Dave.
Ooh, sunshine.
That is what we were looking for. We've been seeing them all morning. Swimming through our baits, just couldn't get them to calm down. Hang on to that fish for me, Dave. I'm gonna grab the pliers and see if I can't. Look how blue that tail is. Pretty, huh? Come on out of there, I know. Circle hook was not. Attaboy, I got you. Huh? That's the way Daddy Dave drew it up right there. Captain Dave Markett here on Tampa Bay. You caught one or two of these in your career, I think.
That's the second or third
Second or third one. Woo!
I'll tell you what, though,
I think
Mike,
it ain't prettier than that, huh?
You never lose the thrill of it.
I bet not.
Look at him, he's perfect.
He's perfect. That's perfect.
You know what the best thing about that is? That fish is about 1.5 years or 2 years away from reproducing.
It's a beautiful.
And they'll make more just like that.
This was kind of a neat day for me because, again, I've been guiding 20 years here on the west coast of Florida, and Captain Dave Markett has been just an instrumental part in my growth as an angler, as a guide here on the west coast of Florida. He's taught me so much, and it kind of dawned on us today that we've never spent the day on the boat together.
that's a better one. Oh, come on now. You're gonna make me take this weight off this thing, aren't you?
I don't know, they're eating them.
You got a better one.
They're frisky. Whoa! NASCAR coming right at you, baby. Got a line down the side of them. You're right, this is a whole nother year class right here.
Let's see.
Yep, whole nother year class right here.
Yep, there it is.
You catch them all different sizes right here.
Well, what this morning has told me is that this is a really, really, really healthy nursery, because you've got at least 3 different age classes of recruits here.
Today's Real Animals tackle box is pretty simple. You know, this is about 90% of what I use here on my daily charter business life. You know, snook, redfish, trout, flounder. Right here on Tampa Bay, this is really my go-to setup. We're using a 7-foot 2-inch Bull Bay Real Animals Signature Series. Now, this is a 8 to 15 pound rods, medium action, but a fast action tip. The key here with this rod is it's sensitive, super sensitivity. Today, those fish were kind of picking at it a little bit early, especially until that tide started to move, and you could feel every time those snook would tap at a bait, you could feel it really good. We got the Penn Clash 2 3000s on this thing. I got 10-pound Spiderwire Ultra Cast Invisibraid. I've got a 25-pound Berkley Pro Spec fluorocarbon leader. I'm leading to a 2/0 circle hook. What Dave was doing, the only thing different Dave was doing than I was doing, Dave likes a little 1/4 ounce egg sinker to kind of slow that bait down a little bit. It gives that bait freedom to move, but the bait's got to work a little harder to move. I didn't use the egg sinker today, and I caught fish as well. So either way, I think works really good. On some occasions, especially when the water temp gets a little hotter or a little colder, fish don't want to chase down a bait, I think this egg sinker's a great, great idea. This is all you need to do exactly what Dave and I did here on Tampa Bay today. Snook, redfish, and trout. This is the package you need. Get yourself set up, go catch you some fish.
Big old trout, man. You got a good one there.
Tell you what, he's heavy.
That's a big trout.
Oh, I thought he came off, but he didn't. Yeah, it is. Look at the size of that pig there.
Yeah, buddy baby. Buddy baby.
Dave Markett, you are a sicko.
What?
Let's pull in there and see if we catch a big trout. You know, like a 26-incher or something. Look at the size of this pig. Oh my goodness gracious, dude. That's a great West Coast speckled trout right there, period. I don't care where you're fishing on the West Coast of Florida, that's a dandy. There's very few fish anymore that excite me more than when you get a really big speckled trout. That yellow mouth comes up top, and it's almost like they're backing up. They thump that greenback, they get that hook, they feel it in their mouth, and they almost start to just back up on you, like bulldog you backwards, and it's a really cool feeling. Initially, when he thumped it, I thought, oh, we had seen a few redfish, might be a snook, and then the minute that fish starts to shake his head like that, you know you got a big gator mouth trout on. The key is to keep that slime coat on that fish, because that's what'll kill a speckled trout.
Real quick.
Yeah, well, a lot of our other species are really resilient, snook and redfish. Redfish are tough as nails, old junkyard dog. But this fish here, they will die on you quick. So you cannot take that slime coat off them. And especially a speckled trout this size puts so many eggs into the estuary. But that is a really good West Coast trout right there. Dave Markett, snook, redfish, and trout, all before noon. Captain Dave Markett, he's been doing it a long time on the west coast of Florida, as good as anybody out there. It's good fish, Dave. Thank you, sir. I wasn't sure exactly how the fishing would be. You know, the bite's been pretty good, and I figured with two of us on our home waters, we could probably put a bite together. But what I was really looking forward to is spending that quality time with Dave, because you never know on any given day, A, what you're gonna learn, B, what's gonna come out of his mouth, or where the day's gonna take you when you're fishing with a guy like Dave Markett. He has so much personality, so much knowledge, so much time on the water. He's just a blessing. And again, you know, you just never know what's gonna come out of his mouth. It's always something new and exciting.